Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Taft City Council's Successor Agency Joint Regular Meeting for February the 20th, Tuesday. This is the amended for the purpose of correcting the address on closed session item B agenda for a point of clarification. As a courtesy to all, excuse me, please turn off your cell phones or turn them to vibrate so we don't get disturbed. Any writings or documents provided to a majority of the City Council regarding any item on this agenda are made available to the public inspection in the lobby at Taft City Hall, 209 East Kern Street, Taft, California, during normal business hours, courtesy of Senate Bill 343. We're going to begin this evening's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Bryant, followed by, followed by the invocation from Heather Mueller. If you would join us all, please.
All right. Please place your hand over your heart. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, force of love, pulsating and flowing throughout the ages of time, we come together this night as your people, looking at the issues that concern our town and looking after and for the support from one another. We thank you for Taft. We thank you for the gift of interaction and love. And dear Lord, we ask and pray for guidance as we seek to honor you with our words and our thoughts, with our actions and our prayers. As the challenges are raised in our midst, guide us as we seek to meet them. Help us to support one another in all the challenges, not only in this town, but also in our state, in our country, and in our world. Empower us, dear Lord, to follow your love, your peace, your justice. We thank you and we pray in your most holy name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Heather. All right, Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Knorr.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hill. Here. Councilmember Bryant.
Here.
Councilmember Cryer.
Here.
And Councilmember Miller.
Here.
All right. First item on this evening's agenda is a proclamation for Safe Surrender Baby Awareness Month. City Manager Jones.
I'll just turn it right back over.
Okay, then. I'll tell you what. I'm going to ask that Mayor Pro Tem read this proclamation. So I'm going to hand that over to Mayor Pro Tem Hill.
This is a proclamation declaring February 2018 Safe Surrender Baby Awareness Month in Kern County. Whereas the Safely Surrendered Baby Law was first implemented in California on January 1st, 2001, with the intent to prevent harm and possible death to newborns. And whereas the law's intent is to save the lives of newborn infants at risk of abandonment by encouraging parents or persons with lawful custody to safely surrender the infant within 72 hours of birth with no questions asked. And whereas in Kern County there have been 63 babies safely surrendered since 2006. And whereas the Safely Surrendered Baby Coalition, under the coordination of the Department of Human Services, works to educate Kern County residents about this important law. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Taft does hereby join other cities in proclaiming the month of February 2018 as Safe Surrender Baby Awareness Month in Kern County, dated this 20th day of February 2018 by Mayor Knorr and the Council.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem Hill. I do believe Heidi Carter Escudero is here to accept this. Heidi, if you would please step up. Here, let's do this. Come on up here. That's it. I hate to do this all by myself. So come on up here. We're going to get you here with the whole council. Because
come on up this way.
this is a group effort.
There we go.
Slide on in here. So everybody, if you would, please stand up here so we can get a picture.
4 years.
We have our.
We dance a little bit.
That's all right.
Everybody loves a good dance.
Got to have room for everybody. All right. Thank you very much.
Just have a great presentation, if that's okay.
Yes, indeed. Please, if you would. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again, and thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Hill, for reading the proclamation and sharing just some of the statistics. And my name again is Heidi Carter Escudero, and I'm currently the chair of the Safely Surrendered Baby Coalition, and I am joined tonight by Sabrina Jones-Roberts, one of our newest outreach team members, and hopefully she'll be the one doing this presentation next year. But I'm reminded, even just briefly in a conversation with one of the audience tonight, is that we don't do this work alone. And Taft has a very big role in the formation of the coalition, because it was an incident in Taft, an unfortunate incident in Taft, where a baby was left in a dumpster just blocks away from a fire department, that led to what I would consider to be the moment in which the coalition formed and has been formed ever since. And so you were one of the first city councils to join us in proclaiming February as Safely Surrendered Baby Awareness Month, and we've come back every year since. And so I do just thank you all for allowing us this opportunity to talk about the life-saving work that the coalition does. Normally we have the pleasure of having Kern County Fire Department with us tonight, so hopefully that doesn't mean there's something burning or some disaster, but there is. So, yeah, they normally are here with us because they are one of our key partners. Because the whole purpose of the Safely Surrendered Baby Law is that any woman in a crisis situation where she has had a baby and does not know what she needs to do, she hasn't planned for the pregnancy, she's possibly even hidden the pregnancy, but she's in a crisis situation where she has to decide what her next action is going to be. And what the message of Safely Surrendered is any fire station, in any community in Kern County, and any emergency room in Kern County, a woman can walk in and turn that baby over into loving hands, no questions asked, up to 72 hours after the birth of that child. And it's a critical message, because in that moment of crisis, if a woman knows that that's an option, fire stations are on every corner. They're just blocks away from where those crises are taking place. And so we know that those life-saving options have happened 63 times in Kern County since we started tracking that number in 2006. We're really, honestly, we're kicking butt. LA County's numbers aren't even close. So we know this campaign works. What's even more a miraculous part of this is 3 of those babies, the women have exercised the option, because they can return up to 14 days after turning over their baby to reclaim their child if that crisis has abated. If they've realized that their family was there and did want to support them, or whatever the situation was they were in, and they realized, I do want to raise my child, they have the option to come back within 14 days and reclaim that baby. It's happened 3 times in Kern County. That's amazing. But those other 60 infants, and Randy knows this work well, as a retired member of the Department of Human Services, 60 families were completed with adoptions. Those babies didn't go home from the hospital into a foster home. They were picked up by the parents that were eventually going to adopt those children. And that family had to hold their breath just 14 days. And on the 15th day, that baby starts heading towards adoption. So it's a miracle. It's a miracle that the woman has the courage and the wherewithal and the information and awareness that she can do this option. But more importantly is that at the end of it, we have the blessing of an adoptive family in Kern County waiting to bring that baby home from the hospital. And so they're just amazing stories. So I do thank you for allowing us this time every year. Again, the basics of the law, up to 72 hours. Any woman in a crisis can walk into any fire station or emergency room and hand that baby over, no questions asked, She has up to 14 days to change her mind, but on the 15th day, that child is going into a loving Kern County adoptive family. So I thank you for being our partner all these years and for this time tonight, and I'm glad that you have the homeless issue tonight because this is a really great opportunity to share this information and spread the awareness because you have a full house. So thank you for your time. And I'm here for questions if you have any.
I have a question.
Yes.
I adopted 2 girls,
Great.
and one of them was from a hospital. I had to wait 3 days before I could take her home,
Yeah.
and they were left there, and it's to the church. But it was amazing, a little bundle of love there, and how they grow up and become somebody and work, and become a grown woman and having children of their own. It's really a amazing, story about how you give infants a chance through life instead of throwing a dumpster and being forgotten.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your personal testimony because Councilmember Cryer, the reality is, and you could speak to that, is the moment you take that child in your arms, it's your child. It's not through birth, but it's through love that those children become a part of your family. So thank you for being a part of the adoption process because it saves lives as well.
All right, any other questions?
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming for us every year, and it's a very important program, and God bless you for that. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, Heidi.
All right, next up, I'm going to look at the sign-up sheets. If you all will give me just a moment, please. I would ask,
22 days.
and I'll ask the rest of the council if they'll consider that, but we have 3 people who want to briefly address the council, then we have quite a few who want to speak on item number 2, and item number 2 is going to take some time. So I would ask if we could put item number 3 in front of item number 2 and get this taken care of and then move forward with that.
No objection.
Any objection?
Absolutely not.
All right. Well, then, that's what I'm going to do. So thank you very much for your consideration, everybody. At this time, item number 3, citizens request public comments. This is the time and place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. Council may receive comment and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. Please limit comments to 5 minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
the fire department just showed up.
It did indeed.
Maybe we can get a shot of them to...
We know if you guys weren't here, you were out doing something important. So thank you for doing what you were, and thanks for being a part of this program.
Certainly.
Thank you very much. All right. Have a good evening now. All right. First up, Mike Purdy with Clean Global Energy. If you would step up, please, sir, and give us your address for the record.
I'm a representative of Clean Global Energy. Our address is 800 Black Gold Court, and we're new to the community, and I just want to address comments of our service from the planning department and all the folks involved here, your city council itself, and the citizens of Taft. Just a wonderful reception that we've received.
Just for a very little background here, Clean Global Energy is a business that has come into the city of Taft, has taken up residence at the end of Black Gold Court with some state-of-the-art refining processes and technology. And there were several other communities that had an opportunity to get Clean Global Energy as a business and an employer. However, Clean Global Energy chose the city of Taft over those other options. And Mr. Purdy here is a representative as well as a superintendent in charge of that. And he decided to come say hi to us and tell us about his experience with that. So,
Right. On January 17th, 2017, we purchased the building from the Beard Family Trust, or we made the agreement to purchase the building from the Beard Family Trust. During that time, from that time all the way into March 23rd, when we finally closed, we had several items that were handled by the Taft Planning Department and really helped us through the whole process. We were hand carried by the Planning Department. Mark Staples was very effective there, got us in, and we were able to get things done that we didn't think that we'd get done for 2 years. And as you can see, we accomplished that in a very short period of time. We got the purchase closed on the 23rd, and we got our FAA deemed no hazard on the 22nd of June. Shortly thereafter, we started construction. On June 7th, we really went after the work. This is June 23rd. I'm standing out in the middle of the plant, and I'm taking a picture back towards the east of all the dirt work going on. But if you look here, we were really digging down. We dropped the grade there 15 feet and then recompacted it. Again, as I pan back around to the south and moving towards the east, you can see we're working. They're digging on one side, and here they are building tank bottoms on the back. Here's, again, they poured the first one on the 23rd, and as you can see, we're moving very fast.
Mr. Purdy, sorry, Mr. Mayor, just for frame of reference, because I do believe that many folks in here don't even know where Black Gold Court is, unfortunately. Can you give them some frame of reference from where we're at here today?
Frame of reference, go to the airport, go to the east end, go 1,600 feet further, and you're going to run right into us.
So folks, we're talking literally right here. I mean,
Black Gold Court is a court that was built as a private development off of Gas Company Road. Mm-hmm. So it is. It's right out there on the east end of town. Thank you very much.
6 or 8 businesses out there, right?
Yeah.
Roger that. There's
fantastic.
Anyway, we're working as hard as we can so that we can get up and get running as soon as we can. The original timeline, the two investors who are really anxious told me I had to have it done by November 1st. We kind of laughed because we didn't even get started until the 7th of June. And this size project is fairly large, as you can see. We hope to have permanent employees of 22 and staff. We are currently hiring now, so we're looking for folks. Again, this is looking back over. You can see the tanks. This is on the 30th. That's a week after all the dirt work was done. So you can tell we are not letting anything grow under our feet. That's the first tank walls going up. The cement had cured, and we started working there. Here you are on August 25th. You can see that we're working as hard as we can to get the tanks up, the roads built, and everything else that goes along with it. September, October. You can see the progression. We're not holding back. The other thing that I want to point out is that we made a commitment to the City Council when we got into this project. We were going to try to hire as many people out of the Taft area as possible. We feel that all of our crews typically have 50% representation from Taft. So you're seeing a lot of Taft folks being employed. In fact, I'm the only one that is not in the management staff local here who hasn't either lived in Taft or been a long-time resident and was raised here.
We got some houses for sale.
And I would give you a recommendation.
Make it 2.
Okay. Again, this is part of the dirt work just prior to us getting ready to put in the truck loading rack. As you can see, we're getting as far as you can. This is an interesting thing here. These are special fasteners that we use for our pipe rack. The pipe rack, if you've ever drive out on Black Gold Court and see it, it's massive. It's a huge rack. We've got about 50 large pipes up in the rack, and to secure it, these bolts here weigh about 1.25 pounds, and that is a special tool that that tightens the bolts. You'll notice the extension on the end. That is when the bolt is tight enough, that is snapped off automatically by that wrench, and that tightens up the all of the pipe rack. I believe we have over 2,000 of those bolts in that rack. We started the first of the pipe rack on October 5th. Here they are constructing it. As you can see, it's starting to go up. You'll notice it's a little tall. It's 20 feet in the air on the top rack. We're going to have 5 1.99 MMBTU heaters out there for our 3 different processes that we will have running out there. This is our first aerial photograph in October. You can see the progress where we were from a bare piece of dirt. Then here in November 16th, December 8th, you'll notice that you're starting to see the truck racks go in. There's December 28th. You'll see the pads are down. Here we are on January 20th, and you can really start to see that pipe rack, and it's up, and we're still working as hard as we can to get it all put together. This was this morning. And you can see how the rack is starting to be populated. We've got about 1/3 of the pipe in the rack, and we're starting the installation on them now. Also, we're going to have to change our name. CGE was a very popular name or letter acronym in the Mid-Continent, and then we hope to take this to the other places in the continental United States. So we're going to have to change our name to Capco. The easiest way to think of that is the 2 owners, Mr. Coles and Mr. Anderson, are CA, and its production company, and we hope to be worldwide. And then the last picture is a really neat picture of the Unitrain out on South Lake Road. Anyway, come on, it's oil related. But I can tell you, thank you to all of your people. They should be committed. They carried us through everything. There's no way to describe. We couldn't have gotten through the permitting process in the amount of time had it not been for Mark and Craig and that crew. Anyway, thank you.
You know what? Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Mike. It is good to hear because there were several hurdles that cropped up. Much like any other development, there were several hurdles that cropped up during the process. And Capco, the investors, and Mike were great to work with. And I know staff worked very hard. I was fortunate enough to interact as well. I'm kind of neighbor because I'm on the east end of Black Gold Court. And thrilled to have you all as a neighbor, I might add. So thank you very much for bringing the investment and the trust into this community, creating the jobs. We just suffered the closing of Kmart and loss of jobs. To know that somebody's coming in and is going to create good paying private sector jobs is a wonderful thing.
There is one complaint, though. I'm sorry, Dave. I have to bring this up.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. We were having problems with the inspections. We only getting 2 inspections a week. So we have a crotchety old guy out there, George. He came in here and put his foot down. You know what happened? We got 5 a week. It took them all of 2 hours to make that decision.
Ooh, so is that right?
Thanks, you guys. Really appreciate it.
Well, welcome to the City of Taft, and thank you very much for the presentation, Mike.
Absolutely.
All right.
Nothing going on in Taft, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. All right, next up, item number 2. Ron Oren. All right, I'm sorry. Next, I said item number 2. Mr. Oren, you wanted to address the council.
Yes.
Were you going to address them on item number 2? Or?
No.
No, okay. Please, if you would, sir.
Perhaps number 2, but later.
Okay, that'll be next up.
Okay. What I've come to speak to you about tonight is what I see as a condition where we are not equitably enforcing our building codes and procedures in this town. Our ordinances mean something. We've adopted them. We expect people to adhere to them. However, they're not being adhered to. We have an ordinance that says you can't have livestock on a residential lot. Within 150 yards of this building, there are chickens, pigs, goats being kept in yards by people in violation of our ordinance. We have trash being dumped in our alleyways continuously, and it's not trash from excess weed trimmings or yard trimmings or even an abundance of household trash. It's demolition waste being disposed of illegally. I live on Ulicard Street here, and for a past 90 days or so, a systematic demolition has taken place on one of the houses that is here on Kern Street, with all of the debris going into the alley, and that debris is being removed by our city employees. I do this business. When I go and I buy a home and I demolish and I take the stuff out, I hire Westside Waste to bring in a container, and they haul it off. I pay them, they pay the dump fees, and those dump fees are included in my fee. It seems unfair to me that additionally, I, as a citizen, am paying for the guy down the street to demolish his illegally, and that goes on my bill because Westside Waste and the city of Taft are disposing of that debris at my expense, these folks' expense, our expense. It's a simple act to go through the alleys and see what's going on. We've had a water heater lay in that alley for in excess of 6 weeks. As you know, water heaters that are old are heavy, cumbersome, and dangerous to lift. Rather than that person taking responsibility for it, they allowed the city staff to come remove it, potentially hurting one of them and at least causing us to have the financial burden. This goes on repeatedly in this town. I have called and said to Mr. Staples, and he has referred to the appropriate people, to go take a look at this project on Church Street, because this roof is being sheeted in a way that is not compliant with the current code. That building got completed, the people purchased the building, there was no code compliance required, and those people now have what is really today's life, a substandard property, because they did not have radiant barrier included in their roof sheeting, which is the code. When I do that in the houses I rehab in town, and those places where I have to put roof sheathing on, that sheathing gets replaced with a radiant barrier under a permit. It's inspected by our city staff. I would like for us to make a joint effort and a commitment to enforcing the laws equitably amongst the community to protect we, the people that own property in the community, and those people that we're seeking to bring here. If we don't do that, our housing inventory is going to become known as a substandard housing inventory. That when they do get remodeled, they aren't inspected, they aren't cared for, it is done improperly many times, and sometimes become dangerous. I've just purchased a home here, and as we're going through the process, my gas lines in that place don't work properly because of previous rehabilitation to that property. I've gone through and found out where the leaks are, and I'm fixing them. But the work was done previously, and the people lived in that place with leaking gas lines. It was a danger. It's not healthy for us. There's a property here on Kern Street that has been rehabilitated and resold, and that property has a sewer leak in the back of it that has never been addressed, and it's in the alley, and the owner was not made to comply with repairing that sewer leak. That's a public health hazard. If you have one at your house or I have one at my house, one of the things we do immediately is get it repaired. But they didn't, because they didn't operate under the same set of rules that we have all agreed are fair and to the best interest of this community. I can go on and on with other instances of violations where we're not taking care of this stuff, where we're treating people unfairly because we're not giving them what they think they deserve when they purchase a property that's been redone. It's substandard many times. One currently on A Street. I don't know if there are permits on it or not, but the work done there, it looks good, but was it done with permits like the rest of us are expected to provide? I'm asking that we look into this, that we as community members, when we see something and it looks substandard, pick up the phone, call Craig, call Mark, get somebody on it. And then I would like to see a response. Mark, Staples and McLean do a great job, but there are only two people. They can't drive the city streets all the time and look at this stuff. And it's, when you see it, it's to your benefit to ask for it to be taken care of properly. I'll be back with more. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Finally, Jordan Miller from the Taft Chamber, TOT. Mr. Miller.
Hi.
Hello.
I am Jordan Miller. I'm the president of the Taft Chamber. Normally, I don't have a very fancy presentation or anything or a complaint, but normally Kathy would come in and she'd speak with you, but she's at the high school agenda or board meeting today. She's awarding the CTEC with the Community Service Award, and then Shannon, rather, she's very busy, didn't have enough to do, so she had law school tonight and she couldn't make it. So they asked me to come in and sit down and talk to you guys real quick. We just wanted to say, give a quick thanks for everything that the city of Taft has continued to support in the chamber with the TOT contribution, and then with the ongoing MOU that you guys provide to us. These things that you guys provide us is something that we just rely on at the chamber. It helps us continue to grow and continue to offer services to the rest of the community. And it's a relationship that we value with the city, because we're able to continue to give these services, like directing community members to the proper places should they need a permit or have a complaint or any item like that. I mean, I was sitting in the chamber today with Shannon having lunch, and we had a gal that came in and was asking us if she could purchase a permit, and we're like, well, you can't really do that at the chamber. That's where you go and you head them down to the city to take care of that. So it's just one of these things that we just really appreciate, and we're really thankful for. Like I said, my little presentation here is just really quick. So it's just a quick thanks to you guys for continuing to give that to us. So we appreciate it. So
all right, thank you for coming and representing the chamber.
I don't know if Jordan made that clear, but he is the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and he's on his second tour of duty. He stepped up, so I want to thank him publicly for your service. Thank you, Jordan.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jordan.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if I might add on that, to the folks who are here tonight, in the last 5 quarters, the city, by way of the TOT tax, provided over $50,000, to the Chamber of Commerce to do the service of local taxpayers in investing in local business. So that's significant. It should show you the value in tourism and in transient occupancy. Folks coming into the town with us for work or pleasure. But I know I can speak for myself, and I'm sure I speak for the rest of the council in saying we're very happy to do that, and we're very happy to have the folks at the chamber as a partner.
That is a fact. I would second that. Any others? No? All right, then. We will move forward with item number 2. Discussion with public input, homeless, vagrancy, property crime issues. Before we get started on this, I believe the city attorney wanted to make a statement.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to remind everyone that this matter is on the agenda only for discussion and public input. There is no action to be taken tonight by the City Council. I anticipate that it probably will come back before the City Council in the future. But so that everyone has a clear understanding, there's no action anticipated. In fact, there's no action that could be taken. There's no proposal before the City Council. It's simply for the City Council to get the community's input and to hear your ideas and your suggestions and to have a discussion. It's very likely, in fact, that there might be another discussion in the future before the City Council even approaches making any sort of a decision or taking any action on any proposal. So we're only on here for discussion tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We have 11 people that want to speak about this matter. 11 people. So I'm going to give you 4 minutes apiece. Now, I know that is a very complex issue, and we will probably talk about this some more. But understand that we all have other business to attend to, and this is the first step in giving everybody an opportunity to address the council to help us understand your experiences, your concerns. The chief of police is here to listen to that as well. So please take advantage of the opportunity, but understand we have 4 minutes apiece. So starting out, Trixie Hodges, if you would come forward, please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Trixie Hodges and my address is 217 East San Emilio. And I want to start out by saying I love the city of Taft, but I'm really sad in seeing the way things are going. You know, you're just seeing a lot of homeless people, and I have a couple grandkids that are strung out on heroin, living in homeless buildings and getting food here and there, and they just kind of are just floundering. It's really a sad situation. And I too once was an addict and homeless. And by being an addict, you just kind of stay out there and you just live on the streets until you have accountability. What I would like to see is the people who are feeding these people, make them come in and set in a 12-step program, talk to them for an hour, teach them how to build their lives, because they're just floundering. As long as someone's going to free feed these people, they're not going to get better. You just have to teach them to do something different with their life. There's Teen Challenge, there's Bethany Center. If the people really want to get clean and get off the streets, let's truly help them. Let's get them some clothes. Let's send them to a program. You know, sure, we need to feed them, the families that have lost their jobs or haven't fallen on hard times, but the people who are using the system, there's people in this community getting food stamps from the welfare, selling them to get drugs, and going and getting free food, and just, it's awful, and it's very heartbreaking. When I first moved to Taft, I didn't see none of this, and it's continually getting worse, and there's just, you see it all over. There's people falling in the streets because they're drunk and got cirrhosis of the liver. My brother just died from cirrhosis of the liver. If we don't truly help these people get off this path that they're on, then we're not helping them just by feeding them. And so we truly need to help them get out of not being homeless by sending them to other places that can help them rehabilitate themselves. But to keep feeding someone and letting them drink and do drugs is only hurting them. And I would just truly love to see our city cleaned up, and I want to see these people truly get help. I want to see the people that's fallen on the streets live in a home and have a job. I want to see the people that's digging in the trash cans not have to do that no more. I want to see them working on the street, give them jobs out in the field, do something, chop the weeds on the side of the road. But until somebody feels good about themselves, they're never going to change. And if we don't give them accountability, our town is going to be ruined because they're not going to know how to live and be a part of our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming before us. Thank you, Trixie. Next up, Kendra Regier. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to butcher names, folks, but I do my very best. So, Kendra, obviously you know who I'm talking to. If you would, please.
I'm Kendra Regier, and I live at 104 East Warren. And I am a health fighter, but I'm not here representing the health fighters. I'm representing the homeless. I participate in New Hope Temple's food bank. I participate at St. Andrews feeding the homeless, cooking for the homeless. And any needs that St. Andrews needs, I'm always there. I also do hit night for health fighters, which happens every Friday night, once a week. We go out and we feed the homeless. These people that we're talking about tonight have a name. They are people. They're just like me and you. They got the wrong end of the deal, whether they choose it or it just happens to be like that. But being out there and providing, whether it be a hot meal or a prayer or just, hi, I'm Kendra, what is your name? Recognizing them as a person, taking it to the next step of building a relationship with them for their trust, gives them hope. Hope that somebody else didn't go and give them when they walked by and saw them eating out of the garbage can or saw them in front of Art's liquor store drunk, not offering them anything but talking about them. When there's so much more that we can do. There is grants out there. We as citizens of Taft can change it. I went to school here. I came back. I left and I came back in 2014 and I was very shocked, just like what Trixie had said, to Taft, which was something great. It could be great again, but we all have to unite and come up with a solution that is positive, because the homeless is not going away. It will stay unless we make a difference. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very much. Now, next up, Marvin Burleson, the president of the Hellfighters.
My wife just accompanied me. We do everything together. You got to know that. Anyways, yes, my name is Marvin Burleson. We live at 509 Sierra Street. We made Taft our home. We've been here for 38 years, since 1980. Whereas I've coached a lot of football, baseball in Taft, been very successful about it. I've watched people grow up to be very successful. I've watched them that are on the streets. This is my home. This is my community. I have sowed good into this town for a long time. So I'm giving you this rundown because this is who I am. You see me riding a motorcycle with a vest. You got to look deeper than that. It says, some of you, I know most of you up there, and you know me. And me and my wife and the Hellfighters, this started going on tomorrow, will be our 7th year. And ever since we've been here, we've been trying to do good by not just the homeless, but needy, and also to the youth, children of our town. We do the toy run every year. We raise all kinds of toys for our youth. And we do a lot of good in this community. We participate in the Taft Parade every year. We're just busy trying to do good by people that need help. And my thing about the homeless is this. We recently got a shower. It's a Mission on Wheels, and what we're going to do is we're going to pick that up, and it's basically a shower trailer. We're going to go to the parks. We're going to shower the homeless, clean them up, and feed them, clothe them, and just like we do at our outreach every year in October, right here in this park, we make sure that their needs are taken care of. We're not trying to enable them. We're trying to make their life a little better. Now, understand that the Hellfighters is not taking a side. We're not going to choose any side. We remain neutral on this issue. However, whatever the city council ultimately decides is what we're going to honor and respect. But we're going to always continue to do good. That's not going to stop. That's who we are. And you got to know that, city council, that we're not going away, and we're going to continue to do what's right by people. Because Taft needs more. They need more of this. They need people who are willing to do good by the community and not turn their back on it. I love Taft. This is my home. And you know what? I defend Taft many times. People, they badmouth Taft. They say things negative about Taft. I'm always defending this town because this is my home. I love it. I love the people in Taft. Whether it's you guys, whether it's the one on the street, I love everybody because we all matter in Taft. And I do know one thing, that people with the right recipe can be made successful. I don't care if they're in the street, or I don't care if they've had a good life and fell on their face. With the right recipe, they can be brought back and pumped full of life. So with the trailer, I'm giving you a heads up because we're going to be doing it. We're going to be cleaning them up, giving them clothing, but I want to add one other thing. whenever you decide to make a decision about this whole topic, I want you to know one thing. 7 years ago when we got this motorcycle group together, our idea, our vision was a mission at the cross here in Taft. And that is a place where we can take the needy or the homeless, get them in there, give them some worth, make them feel good about themselves, get them back on their feet, have a 12-step program, have it all in one stop. That way, it's not an issue to people. I'm a citizen too, and I agree. It can be an issue. I have an alley that I always had to deal with trash up there on 509 Silver Street. You know, people come through there digging in my trash can. But rather than run them off, you know what? I might take something out there and give it to them. You know, I might give them a sack of cans or something like that. Just show a little grace. You know what I mean? But what I'm getting at is this. The vision that we had 7 years ago, and I'm asking the Taft City Council, I think this is the first time I've ever actually approached you, is consider the Hellfighters in this problem-solving solution, because we are a resource. We are wanting to be, but we need help. We need help from the city, whether it could be getting land donated to us, getting a building donated to us, something. But we've never had that. But we're willing as a group to take that task on and to try to do right by people who need to be, who need that. And I think it's an issue that can be solved. I don't think it's a big issue at all. I just think that we've been neglecting and turning our heads on it. And, these are valid points that Trixie brings up. I support her on that. Kendra, I support that. Yeah, these are all valid points. But just remember one thing. There is a solution is if we address it and see it through, not just brush it under the carpet, so to speak, and turn our backs on it. So I don't want to go over my time limit.
I think you're right about there, sir.
Yeah.
But you know what? You have provided a great deal of information. It's funny how fast 4 minutes can go.
Yeah.
So
and I just want to thank you for just hearing me out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming before the council. Next up, Heather Mueller.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Dave, Council. I want to say, first of all, thank you for being here and opening this opportunity for us, those of us who are, shall we say, where the rubber hits the road, functioning and serving. I really appreciate the fact that you've invited us. And thank you, Yvette, for calling me. So basically, I want to just say that you all know that I served a church in Maui for 29 years. It was a normal church. It had a choir and a choir director and a full-time priest and a Sunday school and a youth group and all that kind of stuff. And then I found myself in Taft at St. Andrews. And I have learned so much, and I am so grateful to the city of Taft and to the people that I know, to my friends and the people in the Rotary Club and the Seroptimus Club, because I have learned a huge amount of things that I never knew before. One of the big things that I want to share with you that I have learned by doing what we're doing at St. Andrews, feeding the people who are hungry, because it says in Matthew 25, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, release the captives. We're doing what Christians are called by Jesus to do. What I have learned is that this homeless issue is extremely complicated, and it's already been referred as such. It is very complicated. But the big thing that I have learned that I never knew before is that the people who are homeless are, in most cases, people who have been neglected or abused. The drugs are really secondary. I never knew that before. I guess I thought that people in high school would get into drugs because of peer pressure or something like that. And of course, we've all done things in college and high school that peer pressure does call us to do. But that's not the root of what I see when I interact with the people who come to St. Andrews and who eat there and who sit in the courtyard during the day, the ones that I get to know. The initial issue is neglect and abuse. So therefore, it makes the situation even more complicated and even deeper. And it means that the agencies that we have in our town need to be fully supported, like Alpha House and the ARC. Many people that we serve have mental disabilities. So the healing process is going to have to be many-pronged. On Maui, years ago, there was a 3-part system set up, several years ago. First, you feed them and you give them a place to sleep. Second, you give them the support that the health fighters were talking about, the 12 steps, the opportunity to fill out resumes, the opportunity to get some training, etc. And number 3, you offer them or try to help people actually find meaningful employment. Now that's a long-range plan, and it's multifaceted. But I really think that my time is up, but what I really want to say is that there are many models out there. And I could go on because I know of a bunch of them, and I really look forward to even describing some of them. There are many models that can meet this multitude of needs that are represented and manifested in the community that we're serving here.
Well, you know, we look forward to hearing about those and visiting those. After all, this is our first big meeting.
Right.
This is the community's meeting. So thank you very much, Heather, and we'll talk to you some more. Thanks for coming before us.
Thank you very much for
All
listening.
Right. Next up, Anthony Nelson.
Hello. So the main thing that I came in here for today is just to hopefully offer some suggestions for the homeless. Pretty much it's an epidemic here. There's so many homeless people that are living on the streets right now. And as you know, it's getting pretty cold out there. I'm actually born and raised in Alaska, and I know that in these type of temperatures, it gets extremely cold. So to be able to find a solution to this, your homeless problem and property damage and things like that, I think my main suggestion would be to open a building like a homeless shelter or something like that, at least so that you could start putting in place these steps like the 12-step program, AA, NA, pretty much any of these options, you know, to be able to help the community to get them back from where they are to at least a little bit higher, you know, to be able to get them feeling good about themselves, I believe is what somebody had said earlier. To be able to feel self-worth, I think is the main thing that we should be able to give the homeless population, and to say, hey, you know, somebody does care. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Next up, Lucille Holt. That's a familiar name.
Hi, my name is Lucille Holt, and I live at 413 Monroe Street, and I am the director of the Need Center. This is a circumstance that's very dear to my heart. You know, at the Need Center, we feed people, and by the way, we can't choose not to feed them. We have federal programs, as well as we are given local money to feed people who are hungry. If somebody came into the Need Center and I said, you're on drugs and I cannot give you money, we would not have any food to help anybody. And in the last year, we are seeing an increasing amount of people that we have never seen before, people that have been affected by the job losses. What I'd like to bring out, because what I think we need is a center. Can we do everything at once? No. As you know, I write grants. There's money out there for centers. Can you find somebody to run that center that is going to run it correctly? That's going to take a while. So this is going to be a multifaceted effort to bring in funds, to bring in people who are going to work at it, You need a center that will start off as a daycare. Sounds strange to report it as a daycare, but a daycare which has caseworkers to get the people the services that they need. By having a care, of which there is one in a lot of towns, but there's a very good one in Bakersfield, you get them out of hanging around in the downtown area. We all want our downtown area to be clean. We want it to be nice. We want people to be able to come. We want to have bathrooms we can use downtown. I saw a lady that wet herself in her wheelchair because she could not get into a bathroom anywhere downtown, and by the time she got up to the bathroom, which was locked, she had urinated all over herself. That makes Taft look bad. She was not from town. The thing that I find depressing is there was a 14% increase in homelessness from 2016 to 2017. California is number one in homelessness. 23% of our population is homeless. The fastest growing segments of that population are young people from age 18 to 24. Another segment is divorced women with children because they cannot afford housing. Another distressing statistic is that 45% of homeless people have worked in the last 30 days or are working. They can't afford the housing in California. We are number 3 in the cost of living. We are 48 out of 50 in cost of living. That means we're third from the last. We are 49 out of 50 in housing affordability. I wish there was an easy answer for this. I do encourage everybody to keep a sane head. You know, running the homeless out of Taft to Bakersfield does not create a solution to the problem. So I would really like to see all organizations work together, come together to come up with a solution. And I write grants. I am more than happy to donate my time to write a grant for the city or anyone else to bring in a solution, a first step, a second step, a third step in a solution to bring this problem to a resolution. Can we cure homelessness, all homelessness? No, because there are some people you cannot reach. However, there's a lot of people I think we can resurrect and make them viable members of society. So thank you for your time.
All right, thank you for coming before us. Thank you, Lucille. Next up, Sherry Reitmer. Is that correct? No? No? All right, Sherry. Kathy Edgecombe.
I didn't sign up either. I think Heather did that. I knew that they were going to be late because they were serving the people.
I see. Well, the good news is we cannot kill you and eat you.
Okay, my name is Kathy Edgecombe. I live at 824 Mallory Court. 2-3 years ago, my eyes were closed to all the problems that were going on in Taft until my son and his family came to live with us, because otherwise they would have been homeless. And my nose got rubbed in the dirt of drug abuse. He and his wife both were meth addicts. And I was trying to protect my grandchildren, basically. So I saw a lot of the underbelly of Taft that I never knew existed before. I'm happy to say now, it's been 2 years, he's not living in this state anymore, because he could not stay straight in Taft because there were too many people and too many drugs and too many connections for him to stop. One thing I would like to say is that there are a whole lot more drug users in this town than there are homeless. A whole lot more. Okay, the drug users are not by any means homeless, most of them. And a lot of your vandalism and thievery and all those other problems come from the simple fact of drug abuse in this town. I go down to St. Andrews. I serve almost every night, feeding people. And not all of them are homeless. Some of them are on drugs. Some of them drink too much. Some of them have mental issues. Some of them are just homeless. They're broken and they need some help. But I would really like to see some effort put into the drug issue. Okay, because I think that you have plentiful drugs, you have lack of opportunity in this town, and it comes together and it forms a perfect storm, you might say. And I just had a fleeting thought and it left. And the other thing I was going to say is that since I have been going down to St. Andrews, I have seen several of our young men in this town that we are losing because they were raised either with no parents or bad parents or have no role model, nobody to look up to, and they're lost. And the drugs are here, and they're so easy to get a hold of the drugs, and that's where they go. And I would love it if we could get a program that was specifically, a lot of like foster kids coming out, turn 18. They're lost. They don't know what to do with their lives. If you could have a group home or some kind of a treatment place that would give these young men from Taft the opportunity to find themselves and have somebody to look up to and figure out, what their life is all about, and that can be better than getting high on drugs every day. That's it.
Thank you very much for going ahead and stepping up, even though you didn't sign up. All right. Janice Harris. Now, if I butcher your name, feel free to come up here and... Janice. All right, very good then.
Thank you for having everybody here. And I wasn't really planning on coming. I put my name on the list in the event that I would want to say something.
Could you give us your address, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, 429 Warren, which, by the way, is about 2 houses away from St. Andrews. And you would think that somebody where I live would have, some kind of issue with this maybe. But I also so happen to sit on the Sharon board, which is responsible for feeding, partly responsible for feeding at St. Andrews. Excuse me, I'm really nervous because I wasn't expecting to speak at all.
That's all right. That's all right.
So I basically wanted to come up here because feeding the homeless is one part of what we feel, or I'm going to just speak for myself actually. Feeding the homeless is only one part of my passion about the homeless. And it isn't even about the homeless, it's about Taft as a community. My largest portion of my heart and where I like to direct my efforts are with the youth, because as the First Lady came up and spoke, pointed out that she had had a problem with drug abuse. Her kids and, well, she didn't say her kids, I think she said her grandkids had a problem with drug abuse. This is something that our youth is seeing. On top of that, they are seeing the people that are older who are transitioning into living on the streets, maybe not because of drug abuse, some are. And so I think really our strongest efforts are going to be there. But we cannot not feed people. We have to show these people love. We also have the Hellfighters. I have the opportunity to, I don't sit on another board, a ministry board in Taft, but I have the opportunity to go to their meetings because I'm employed through them. And the Hellfighters shower trailer came through. I think it's really the thing that I got out of being here today. It's given me even more drive to make a difference for our town. The biggest thing that I got is everybody that is here loves Taft, and we have to remember that we have to love these people as well. And building trust, giving them options, making sure that they know the resources that are available. The feeding part of it is just the very beginning of it, and I'm just really excited that I got to hear some things that about the grants and just some really exciting things. I may be calling you at some point in time, but I think the dialogue is really good, and I just wish and hope and pray for the town to really keep an open and clear mind about it, and just realize, like Kathy was saying, any of our kids or family members could end up on the streets, and we don't always know the reason they're there. Like the Needs Center, like she had said, they can't turn people away because we don't know. You know, yeah, it'd be nice if we could say, no, you don't deserve to be fed, which I don't agree with that at all. But if we do that, then we are prejudging what circumstance led that person, and also to say on the drug abuse side of it, as was stated earlier, it is a lot of times just maybe a choice that someone decides they want to have fun and do drugs. But a lot of times it has to do with the way they were raised, as the one lady said, and what they have seen growing up. And that is how they end up in the position that they're in. So thanks again for having everybody here, and I look forward to coming back, definitely.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for having the courage to come talk to us. Megan Luton? Megan Luton.
I'm going to pass.
You going to pass, Megan? All right. And then finally, Ron Oren.
I spoke to you about this subject a couple weeks ago.
Indeed, I remember that.
And the folks here have shown a great deal of compassion. I am not discompassionate or uncompassionate. What I am is I'm concerned for our well-being. We are no better equipped today than we were 2 weeks ago. We have a good heart. We want to help people, but our help is misguided, and we need to take a direct quote, a direct plan where they have had success. Cities like San Diego, Spokane, Portland, Boise, where they have stepped in and helped these people. We don't have the resources. I own property downtown. I do not want a homeless center next to the business that I operate. I don't want the element of people going through crises in their life to impact my business. I don't want them to impact my children, my grandchildren. I don't want to walk through the feces. I don't want to walk through the urine, the slop, or the other stuff that's created. I don't want to have to clear a campfire. I've had the people at my property camping out back, cooking, living, sleeping, breaking in, getting out of the weather. What about my rights as an owner? What about my rights as a member of society to not be infringed upon? There are people that have skills at doing this deed to take care and help these folks. We pay our tax dollars. We give benevolently to the organizations that support these people, that help them. Yet the facilities in Bakersfield are not being occupied by the very people they're created for. I can remember for all of my adult life that we've been helping people in need. And all we've done is create more people with need. The more money we throw at this, the more opportunity that we give them to fail, it doesn't make a difference. I can't go back and parent these people that are in their 40s. I can't parent them. It isn't my fault that their parents were on drugs, and I can't be impacted by it. I believe that they need help. I believe we are categorically unqualified in this community to render help that is significant or long-lasting. I'm asking you to work, yes, with these folks, cooperative. But remember, each of us in this room is paying taxes that go into Bakersfield, that support facilities there, that have professionally trained and qualified staff that are underused because these people don't want to go there. These are not necessarily folks that grew up in Taft, live in Taft. And I've done a survey of the folks. I said, where are you from? He said, Taft. And I said, where else are you from? Louisiana, Texas, and Oregon. Which did you call home? All of them. Where do you live? I don't. I'm on the street. It's a choice. We used to call them hobos. A nice name was vagabond. They were called vagrants. And as I said to you last time, many of these people aren't homeless. They're unwilling to abide by the procedures that are conducted in their home. They are not welcome there because of their attitudes. I wouldn't want them in my home either. I don't want them in my neighborhood with the attitude they have. I understand they need help, but we are not qualified or capable of helping them. There are people that are capable, are being paid for by us in this community, but those services aren't being brought to us on a consistent and regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, that is our last speaker. Now, before any individual out there draws any conclusion from one side of this discussion or another, what we all need to realize is in order to come to a solution, we have to communicate. So we don't want to predispose our opinions just based on one side of this discussion or the other. I say discussion because it's not an argument. An argument is not going to solve anybody's problems. So we invited everybody here so that we could listen. We want to thank you all for coming and sharing your stories, sharing your viewpoints, sharing your experiences, because that helps us. Ignorance is not a bad thing. Ignorance means you haven't been exposed to the truth. You all have exposed us to many truths and many opinions, and we value those. So this is the first step as we work our way through this. Homelessness and the issues that come before a community based on homelessness, it's not brand new. It's not unique to the city of Taft. It's not unique to California. Although, if you look at the percentage of the population of the United States in California versus the number of homeless, the number of poor and indigent, and the number of people on entitlements, we have about 3 times as many as we should. That is because, and I'm going to lay it out there, that is because of some very bad decisions made at the legislative level in the state of California. The lawmakers are making those decisions. Then the bad things that happen to individuals, they end up aligning, and then bad things happen to communities. And people who are concerned come before small municipalities, much like the city council, and obviously they should. Whether they want to help, whether they're upset because of the negative aspects of these things, including crimes against property, including the feces and the urination, all the things that take place when people no longer have a place to live. So it is not unique to the city of Taft. The city of Taft did not create it. We can all work together to learn something, to see what we can do to make things better for a community and for those people. We did not create this problem. No single individual in this room created this problem. All right? Yes, sir. I'm going to invite you to come up here because you didn't write your name down. You're going to have to come on up here. Or, well, come on now.
I didn't write my name down, you're right. But I would like to say something.
State your name and your address for the record.
My name is Wilbur Beard. I live at 27534 Cypress Street.
Thank you, Wilbur.
And I would like to say to the council, I patrol every night, 5 nights a week, off on the weekends. And I have seen so many things that goes on in this town. And I think one thing that we're leaving out here, and probably the public would like to know, because I know there's a situation, because there's only so much the police department can do. And the public, such as I and the others, we don't realize what they can and can't do. So what we do is we see all these people running amok every night, all night long. I mean, it's nonstop. I make my rounds. I go all to Taft. I do all to Taft. I do McKittrick. Don't say anything at McKittrick. Come back to Taft, and you've got people. And I get off at 5 in the morning. I go to work at 8 o'clock at night. There's people all night long, all over the place, up and down the streets, going in front of people's yards, going in the alleys. And when they start seeing my little patrol truck and they're trying to hide from me, that means they're not up to any good at all. We have a young man in this town that's homeless, been homeless a long time. Everybody in Taft knows who it is. I won't give his name, but he is absolutely tearing the restrooms of the city up. I know for a fact because I locked the bathrooms that night. And we went from, I believe, 8 restrooms. I think we have 2 now that remains open because of the vandalism. He'll go in at night, he'll tear all the toilet paper, and he'll tear it all up in little pieces, throw it on the floor. And when he uses the restroom, he doesn't use the toilet. He uses the floor or wherever. I just ran him out last night. He was in the bathroom. I had to get him out. He's in there almost every night. I got to talk him out of there. And when he came out, he had a bicycle. I said, "Where'd you get the bike?" He said, "Oh, it's a friend's." Well, as far as I know, he don't have no friends. So it's probably somebody's bike he found. But he's just continuing to tear this place up. And he's more of an actor than he is really mentally off. He plays that game very well. And there's 4 types of homeless. You've got your alcoholics that's homeless. You got your drug addicts that's homeless. And then you've got the regular people down on their luck that's homeless. And you've got your mentally homeless. The ones that I believe, from what I see at night, that's doing all this breaking in and all this stealing and hiding around in the alleys and doing different things is your drug addicts. I don't believe it's your alcoholics, because they'll stand in front of a store and ask for money. I don't care if they get a nickel or a dime. They'll save it up so they get 1 beer. As soon as they open and sell alcohol, they'll be in there to get a beer. And it's not I've run into awful nice people that's homeless, but they're the people that's down on their luck. The rest of them, I don't care what you give them, they're going to run amok because they don't want to be in a place that's an institution. They don't want to have to follow any rules. And I think everybody here, I don't think there's anybody here that wouldn't feed somebody that was hungry. I just heard a story told to me the other day by an 80-year-old man that I have coffee with in the mornings. And he said he was driving during the day and there was a lady carrying a sign and said, "I'm starving." He said he turned around, went back, talked to the lady. And he said, "Are you really starving?" And she said, "Yes, I am." Well, that's a bunch of nonsense. Because you've got St. Andrews and several other places that will give you food or feed you. If she's starving on her own because she could have went any place and got it. And I know exactly who he's talking about, and she's not new to this town. She knows how this town works. But I have a lot of people ask me about the patrols at night. I said I couldn't tell you that. But I think maybe we might have that explained to the citizens how this patrol works at night. And maybe they will understand it more, what they can do and what they can't do. Because I know their hands are tied on a lot of things. Our wonderful governor made sure of that.
Yes, sir, he did.
But I think there's a lot of misunderstanding with our police department because of that. Because people don't know what can be done and what can't be done. There's a lot of things they can't do.
That's right.
Not anymore.
Wilbur, I appreciate you coming forward. I'll tell everybody that I have had coffee many, many mornings at the end of Wilbur's shift, and I get a great deal of information from Wilbur because he is out there. He's the eyes and ears, and he sees what's going on, and I appreciate the information I get from you every time, Wilbur.
Well, I thank you very much.
Thanks for coming forward. Now then, everybody who has signed up to address the council has addressed the council. Bearing in mind that we cannot take any action, we're not set to take any action, there's nothing on the agenda for us to take this evening, I would ask the attorney if it would be appropriate if I let each council member make a statement.
That'd be fine, Mr. Mayor. I do notice that council statements is up next on the agenda, so you can either make statements regarding this issue, or they could fold it into the council statements.
How about if
whichever way you'd like to
how if we fold it into it, and that way we move forward with the agenda? Everybody okay with that?
Happy to do that. Thank you.
All right, fine then. I do want to thank everybody who's been a part of this. So we're going to move forward with the agenda, and the next item on the agenda is council statements, non-action. So, item number 4, I'm going to begin with Councilman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank all the folks that showed up tonight. I hope this is just not a one-shot meeting for you, and that your concerns are real and you want to be involved. I would like to ask each one of you to come up here and put a $100 bill on the table so we can address this homeless problem. I don't really mean that, but that's what it's going to take. It's going to take money. It's going to take collaboration. It's going to take you. It's going to take the churches, the city of Taft, the county of Kern, all the different agencies that we pay our taxes for to be involved in this. This is not a city of Taft problem. This is a West Side problem. In the city of Taft, we can only do so much for what we can do here in the city of Taft. There's always been a talk about a shelter and vacant buildings and all that kind of stuff. Well, you got to man that. And unless you got a bunch of people who want to be volunteers 24/7, it's just going to take money. And that, to me, that the bottom line is money. And I think somebody mentioned about, we've been throwing money at it for years. Well, it's just gotten worse. And I don't know if more money thrown at it, but we have to look at it from our own perspective. We're not getting any help from the state. They're building a railroad to nowhere and spending billions of dollars. All we'd like is just, a couple $100,000 of that money that's being wasted so that we can address the problems that we have here. Many of us use Facebook. I'm on Facebook. And it's just disheartening when you get on and some of the banter back and forth about different problems, and, people talk down about Taft. They live here. And they talk down about Taft and not, try to stay positive. I live here, just like someone mentioned, they love living here. I live here, I'm born here, I'm a Fort baby. There's a lot more good people in this town than there are bad people. Way more good people in this town. Look around. There's way more good people in this town that are doing good things in this community. So Taft's not going downhill. The gentleman just came tonight and told us about a business he started here and how cooperative we are. Many of you watched Super Bowl and saw the Toyota commercial that was filmed here. Part of it was filmed here in Taft because they like to come up here because we have a good film process for shooting here, and they love coming here. Taft's got a good reputation. Taft is good. But my daughter lives in Omaha. The average temperature in the last month or so has been less than 20 degrees. It's 70 degrees in Taft. Where do you think homeless people are going to go? They're not going to stay in Omaha. So they're coming to California, and we're getting them. So the other thing, last thing I want to say is, if we don't do this right, if we don't put this collaborative effort together right, there's lawyers waiting in the wings to swoop down and nail all of us because we didn't do this or we didn't do that, or we have to do this or we have to do that. So people have talked about, well, we just give them a bus ticket and tell them anywhere you want to go. Well, you can't do that. You can't make people do anything because they have rights. You have rights. They have rights. And we can't infringe on their rights. They sometimes infringe on our rights when they come onto our property and cause problems and defecate in the street and do those kinds of things. But they do have rights, and we have to be very careful to not violate those rights. But I believe we've got a good thing started here, and thank you to Councilmember Hill for getting this ball rolling, and this is just the first of many meetings. So just my hope is just stay positive. Taft's a good community. We're a safe community. We're a lot safer in a lot more places. You can walk around this community and not get run over like they do over in Bakersfield. So pedestrians I'm talking about. So again, just stay positive. You know, that's all I can ask. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all.
All right, thank you very much, Councilman. Councilman Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a tough situation. You need to be a wise man like King Solomon to solve this problem here. And okay.
There you go. Try that.
How's this?
There we go.
Perfect. I believe the churches are the best way to handle it. You rely on government to solve it. They won't. They can't. They waste money. They have a cookie cutter deal. Everybody's the same. But we're all individuals out here. A lot of the homeless got special issues, special problems, and special needs. And what better way is a community of churches to give them the food for the soul, spiritual needs. And the bad part about it here is that with minimum wages going up, it's kind of hard to give somebody that has no skills, has issues, to give them $7 or $8 an hour. You can't do that. It's illegal. So you have to give them $15. Well, why the heck do you want to hire somebody for $15 an hour? So there's a cycle there. There is a cycle that cannot be broken because you can't help and train them. But then you get the ACLU after you because you're like slave labor or you're taking advantage of them and all that. But as a church, you have more leadway, more options in a city that has to follow the federal and the state and not solve nothing other than throwing money away. It's just best for the. I'm sure rules and regulations against it, but give money to the churches and stuff, let them help put together. But it takes everybody to do it. California gives too many obstacles. There's just too many obstacles there to solve the problem. But we all need to help our fellow man, whichever way we need to do it. But I rely on the churches, and there's many of them here. Taft has more churches than a lot of cities has, and we all need to get together. And what can we do to solve the problem and make it work? I can go on, but there is a need and there's a want. There's a need to help the homeless people, and the homeless coming to us to help for their needs. But I just can't stress enough that government can solve things. They can't. There's no way. But I just stress the needs and to have another meeting, get together. I know the churches have meetings all the time, and bring up the agenda. If they want to have a homeless shelter, let the churches put together, and there's grants out there, like Lucille said you can do, to get the grants to see what we can and where to place them where it don't affect the businesses or in the right area. But we can solve the problem. It's a matter of wanting to solve the problem. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you very much. Councilman Bryant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to go around a little bit. Hopefully it's fairly direct, but it's all going to tie into the same topics we're here tonight. Again, want to thank everyone for coming out and offering your insights. The whole reason we offer this opportunity. But you don't have to come as a hot-button topic like this. You're more than welcome to come any night, every Tuesday, first and third of the month. We talk about fun stuff like this every time. So thank you guys for coming out and participating in your government. I think the common denominator here, and I think you can see it regardless of what side you're on, whether you're very much in favor of helping, which I wouldn't say that anyone is against, or if you're on the other side where you're very much in favor of personal property rights and people respecting that, the fact remains that we all love Taft, period. Right? And at the end of the day, we care about today, about Taft today. We care about Taft tomorrow for both ourselves and for future generations. I didn't come to try to get elected to get on this council to affect myself. I want my kids and your grandkids and their grandkids to be in a Taft that we love and a Taft that we set up for them to be even more successful than we have been in the past 100 years. And I think that this is probably a very integral cog and integral topic to talk about to get us there. may be uncomfortable, it may not be fun, but it's definitely something we have to touch on given today's day and age, in the state of California especially. As Councilmember Miller mentioned, he's on Facebook and is a younger member of today's society. I try to use it myself quite often. I use it for fun, but I also use it in the position I hold. And I'm very fortunate and blessed to have that to get information, to, I guess, gauge the court of public opinion, to get folks like you. Whether you probably didn't come tonight because you saw my post on Facebook, but maybe somebody did, and that's a good thing. But I often make commentary. I like to thank city staff when they do a good job. I like to let people know that I'm a conduit for you as a taxpayer to city staff. But I made a comment last week in very open public, and I'm standing by it right here, right now, that I'm very proud and happy with the efforts that city staff, whether it be Public Works here at City Hall, the police department, code enforcement, whatever you want to say, has made. Is it completely sufficient? No, but not all our fault. But I did make the comment that I was happy that they're very proactive and cleaning up some messes that are obvious eyesores and problems and issues. And I want to make sure that I'm very clear and clarifying this. We talked a lot tonight about compassion. And I want to make sure everyone understands, because it was very obvious to me that one person didn't understand my compassion and my empathy for folks. But I also want to make very clear my position when it comes to, like Mr. Orrin mentioned, personal property rights and my right and my I should say, need and right to not be infringed upon unduly. So somebody made the comment that, I guess in my comment, that we made folks feel unwelcome or unsightly. I'll be honest with you. My response was, I don't want anybody to feel that I'm trying to put anyone down because somebody may be less fortunate, because it's certainly not my position. I didn't come up sitting on this dais. I didn't come up living in Parkview Village. I live in South Taft, and I grew up there, and I'm very proud of that. I grew up, much like Ms. Hodges mentioned, my parents are or were addicts currently. 2 of my baby brothers are or were addicts today, methamphetamine, heroin. So I'm not immune personally from direct impacts and seeing that of the way it impacts people's lives. I think Ms. Harris mentioned that we are a product of our community. Was that you? Or of your environment? I apologize. And I would wholeheartedly agree with that, but with one caveat. The choices that come subsequent to that are paramount to the environment in which you grow up in. I grew up, like I said, in a household or in an environment full of drug addicts. And you know what? I'm sitting here on this dais today clean as a whistle. I might like to have a beer or two, and I'm no saint. I'll be honest with you. I've probably cussed a time or two, and a time or two to come. But I would never put something like that in my body because I've seen the direct impact that it has. So I want to make folks aware that you are a product of your environment, but you are a product of the choices you make subsequent to that environment. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get off topic, and I want to make sure that I'm very clear here, but I would like to read this verbatim, if it would please the council. This is my position as Josh Bryant, 109 Terrace Drive, as opposed to Josh Bryant, City Councilman. If anybody wants to agree with me, God bless you. I understand people's positions in not wanting to label folks, but I want to make sure we're very clear that folks who have no intention of respecting or outright completely disregarding people's personal property rights, those guilty of disregarding basic standards and socially accepted methods and modes of cleanliness and sanitation, and those who are not acting on their ability to better the situation are not, in my opinion, welcome to infringe upon that of others, to become a burden on others, and to expect that such behavior will be tolerated. In my opinion, it's disgraceful of folks who act in this way and who are living proof and examples of the choices and the consequences thereof. They continually and willfully live in that manner. I believe that it's incumbent upon our houses of worship, what I've mentioned multiple times, and us individually to take upon that yoke and do exactly like you guys are doing, to try to help folks who are legitimately in need. But I also don't fault folks who turn folks away for their inability or lack of a desire to ultimately comply with stipulations which you place upon them. I believe that as individuals we should give and we should bless others as we so feel compelled, but I also believe that we should temper that those gifts and those love offerings with the evaluation. Is the gratuity perpetuating the problem, or is it helping the problem? As a governmental body, I personally believe that our city cannot and should not be a mental health and social services hub for those who reside here and pass through the city. I do not say that we can't be a conduit and an avenue for folks to find services which are already being provided. But I don't think the city should and can take that on as another service here today. We as a state and as a voting body have, for the last 4 years, since we passed the Safe Schools and Safe Neighborhoods Act in 2014, and well before that, have continuously said that we need less incarceration and more rehabilitation. But what have we done besides keep criminals out of jail and decriminalize being a criminal to help those folks in need? Nothing. Nada, zilch, nothing. And again, that gets back to our points and our requirements as individuals, as godly bodies, whatever you want to call it, and as private investment to do that. I think it's shameful that at the end of the day we're not punishing criminals for putting us in a situation where we have to deal with it, whether or not it's self-imposed. Are the folks who are in these groups legitimately downtrodden? By all means, let's help them out. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't be unduly impacted as an individual and as a citizenry by folks who willfully and continually put themselves in that situation. People need the help. There are services there. Let's get them there. But let's not enable folks who are continually choosing that lifestyle. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm off base and cold-hearted. Personally, I don't believe so. And if you do, I'd love to talk to you because I'd like you to know my heart, not just the words that are coming out of my mouth. But I'm also open for suggestions and ideas as I sit here on this dais as a member of this council, and I will do nothing short of helping to ensure the short-term and long-term viability of the city, the taxpayers, and the people who call this place home. At the end of the day, don't know what the best answer is, period. We don't. That's why we're here talking today, but I'm very happy and proud that you're all here taking this upon yourself to talk to us, and we can work through this. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem Hill, I do believe that you were the one who asked that we put together this first get-together, so it's your party.
I think the first thing we have to really think about is how are we going to get over our own personal prejudices, because we all have them, and we all have our own pride about what we're doing here. We can't enable people, and we can't attract more. At the same time, we can't be cold-hearted and not take care of people. Somehow we have to, as groups, and we have several groups in this town who do good things, we need to figure out what we do have in this town. Honestly, I do not know all the things we do have available to us. We know unfortunately, we had people we asked to come here that did not. I know we have services in Bakersfield, but people choose not to go there. Why? We don't have the money here for some of the things that people would like to have here. And if we did have them here, would these people go to them? That's another thing to think about. I think it's a safe thing. I mean, I happen to be a person who cannot imagine in my wildest dreams living on the street. I don't even want to camp, okay? I want to live in a warm house. I want to, have all the amenities. I cannot imagine that struggle and trying to find a way to get out of that struggle. But there seem to be people who don't want to abide by rules. Those rules are important. You and I have to abide by those rules. They need to abide by these rules. And it's not fair to those of us who pay taxes and abide by the rules to have to deal with people who don't. The thing we always have to remember here is money. This is a rural community. Large cities get lots of money to handle these situations. We get nada. If there are grants, if there are things, what things would make sense here? Would we be able to get people to use these facilities? We have a real problem in this town with drug addiction. There is no doubt. Do we need facilities, or do we need to get people to the facilities, and how do we get them there? Because frankly, people, if they don't want to go, we can't make them. They have to be a real threat to be able to be made to go. The other thing we really didn't talk a lot about is mentally ill people. There is a cycle of homelessness causing mental illness and mental illness causing homelessness. How many of these people are truly mentally ill? Can we help them? Do we have the funds? Do we have the facilities? We really need to start having conversations here about what we really have. I don't want anybody to go hungry, but I don't want these people to vandalize property or hurt children. Heather, I am concerned about where your location is. We've had this discussion. It is so close to a school. I was sad that the schools didn't come tonight. I know they've had some problems at their schools with people. We're having problems all over town, and that's why we're here tonight. This is one of, I hope, many, many conversations. But I hope every one of us leaves here tonight thinking about the other person's opinion and how that affects them, just like your opinion affects you, and figure out ways that we can work together. Because sometimes it's hard when you have the absolute opposite opinion of the other person. So I'm hoping that in the future we can start working on ways to figure out what we do have as far as services. Are the people in this town going to use those services? If we had them here, would they use them more? Are we able to get some of these services? So obviously we have a lot to think about here, and we have a lot to talk about here, but I appreciate all of you coming out, and I hope that this is just one of many conversations we can have. I think each and every one of us are open to listening to anything people have that are, positive ways to go forward, because I don't think any of us want to pat people on the back and say, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. People have got to take care of themselves, and we have to help them find ways to take care of themselves. But again, I don't want to attract people from Omaha to live here, okay, in spite of our lovely weather. I would like people that live in this town to get healed and go forward and find a way not to attract more. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Thank you very much. So, several different sides to the issue. Talk about people's rights. The cost right now, typically one of the things that we have to do, and this is the state of California, this is not City of Taft, this is not the West Side, state of California, AB 109, Assembly Bill 109, Prop 47, Prop 57, all of which are designed to get people out of prison and put them on the street. All right, that's what your legislature did. That's what your lawmakers did. Your governor signed it into law. They're going to put them on the street, and then it becomes your problem. And it becomes all our problems. So individuals now have to either put up with being vandalized. Our city treasurer, his facility, his business was vandalized multiple times, broken into, things stolen. So what happened to him? I mean, you don't think that's kind of wrong for him to have to put up with that? If you don't want that to happen, then you have to pay for some type of cameras or some type of, you have to pay a security firm in order to safeguard what you have. So there's both sides to everything. Unfortunately, AB 109, Prop 47, Prop 57, what it did was it created the opportunity for those who would ignore the law and ignore basic decency to victimize the people who do. All right? So there's no excuse for that. I mean, if you're out on the street, that's unfortunate. I don't know your story, but that doesn't give you the right to victimize people who wouldn't victimize you. Where's that golden rule? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I wouldn't dream of breaking into somebody's house or breaking into somebody's car or doing those things. I just wouldn't. So the law is the law. I think criminals should be punished. I think criminal activity is deplorable. I think repeat criminal activity is even more so. There is one individual in this community that was detained, cited, and released 27 times last year. 27 in a single year. What do you think the cost to the taxpayers for that was? Cops aren't free. Police officers are not free. Gasoline, cruisers, all of those things, none of that's free. So I don't know what made them the victim and put them on the streets, but I can tell you this too. I have talked with some of them. I sat down and talked to them. I talked with a guy who's very matter of fact. He used to be very successful. He had a Porsche and he had money, and he told me how he blew through it all. Well, actually, he didn't. I guess perhaps that's a bad choice of words, because a lot of it had to do with cocaine and drugs. Well, now he works the system. He gets a hold of money. There are people that work the system, get their EBT cards. They take their EBT cards to a heroin dealer. He turns it into 50 cents worth of heroin for every dollar worth of EBT card. And then that individual has an EBT card on the backs of the taxpayers. So the taxpayers want to do good. People on entitlements were buying heroin wholesale. That don't make any sense.
At least we're not charging them tax.
So I don't have the answer either. This is a very difficult issue, but it's nationwide. It's not just the West Side. It's not the City of Taft. But here again, this is the beginning.
It's a start.
Yeah. This is the beginning. This is a start. And that's why I want to thank all of you for coming, sharing your information with us, sharing the stories, and we will move forward with what we can do, as well as understanding that even those that break the law still have civil rights. They have civil rights, just like the civil rights of the people they violated. And we cannot violate their civil rights in order to try to clean the town up in a hurry. We can't do that. we have to operate within the confines of the law. So that's all I have. Once again, thank you all very much for being a part of this discussion. Moving forward, item number 5, Planning Commission reports. Do we have a Planning Commission report this evening? All right, very good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mayor, members of the council, we had 2 items on the agenda for the February meeting, and one of them was a conditional use permit. One of the things we do fairly regularly is a conditional use permit as a precursor to somebody getting an ABC license. Usually it's for a facility who wants to serve beer and wine at their restaurant. The most recent one was here for, I think it's Mi Ranchita, and just up here next to Arts Liquor, and they received that as an approval. Second item on the agenda was what I would call an update to the cannabis ordinance, not in any way addressing issues of substance so much as making sure that the definitions and issues covered in our current ordinance match the state's current regulations. So permits have been changed, additions, different numbers have been given to permits, things of that nature. And so Mark went through and addressed those changes in our ordinance to make sure that the basic information in the permit was accurate in terms of what the city ordinance reflects compared to the state code and the state regulations. It did not address any of the substantive issues. We still have cannabis banned for commercial growth, retail, all of that. And there's still people who can grow 6 plants in their houses. So it was merely a matter of addressing technical issues in the legislation.
I doubt very sincerely this is the end of that. You will see that the state will continue to change the rules in response to what's going on, including a small article that was in this morning's paper, I believe, and they said that if, as of the 15th of February, of all the known grows within the state of California, in spite of the fact that they did a great deal of research to try to make sure everybody could get licensed and everybody could comply with the regulations, that currently the licensing percentage in the state of California of known grows stands at 0.78%, which means 99.22% are illegal, which means they're a part of the black market. And they complain about the cost and the regulations. So we will revisit this many, many times in order to parallel the changes coming from the state. So I doubt very seriously this is the last time you'll do it.
I'm certain it isn't, because what we've done our adjustments to are what are called emergency regulations.
Oh, there you go.
So all of these regulations did not go through the typical environmental process, other things that needed to be done to establish the regulations permanently. And so I'm expecting that sometime within the next year, I don't know, Jason, you might know a little bit better about that, the timelines are going to require them to come back. Even if they don't make any changes, they're going to require them to come back with an approval for these to make them permanent regulations.
Right.
So yeah, we will see more.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate the update on that. Department reports, item number 6. Chief Whiting, I don't think you're going to be giving very many department reports, are you, sir?
Mr. Mayor and City Council persons, I know you'd love to hear me talk about the homeless issue tonight, but that is not why I'm here. First and foremost, this is, for all intents and purposes, my last City Council session before I retire as your chief. And so I'm here tonight simply to say thank you to all of you and to all of the city staff and all the numerous city managers, mayors, and city council people over 32 and a half years who have very graciously supported our police department over that time period that I've been here. And that includes all the former mayors and council people, and we have one here in our audience today, Mr. Walter, thank you. Without your support, we would not be doing as well as we are through both the good times and the bad, and we've saw plenty of that. So I'm up here simply to say thank you for all of that, and to the city staff for all the assistance and the very good advice and the teamwork that we've had over the last couple of years. It's really been a benefit to everybody here, and I just want to say thank you for all of that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, I know everybody up here wants to give you their personal thank you and the accolades and the things that you have done. We hear a lot of what we heard this evening, but we know that the city of Taft is one of the safest cities in the state of California and the nation by federal standards based on their documentation, not just our opinion. I feel very comfortable walking from one end of our city to the other. And I can't say that about going to Bakersfield. We hear about homeless on a weekly basis around here in Bakersfield and other cities. I'm not just pointing the finger at Bakersfield. We hear about murders on a daily basis. You know what? I, like Randy, live here because I love this community like so many others. I wasn't born here. I'm not a Fort baby, but I've been to the Fort.
You got here as fast as you could, though.
Yes, I did, though.
Didn't choose Omaha.
Just a little bit behind the curve, Councilman. Thank you very much, Chief, for everything. All right, other department reports. Mr. Staples, I'm going to ask that you take the opportunity to introduce everybody to the other Mr. Mark.
I didn't want to jump ahead to the consent calendar, but...
yeah, well,
Mark
this is kind of a special time, so go ahead.
Mark Staples, Planning Director for the City of Taft. This evening, you'll be acting on an item on the consent calendar regarding our building official position. We've been contracting with JAS Pacific, who also provides us with the more services for more complicated plan checks, like the new Westside Healthcare Center. And since last May, Mark McLean, who's an experienced building official, he's also grabbed a hammer before he started as an inspector and became a building official, which comes in very handy in knowing what to see when you're out in the field. He's come from more along the Monterey Valley and California coast, working both in cities of Seaside and Greenfield. Combination 16 years between the two? 25. Way off.
He hides his age well.
He has provided us building official and plan check services almost a year now, and we've been patiently looking for someone to replace who we had here for just over 3 years. So I'll introduce Mark McLean, our soon-to-be, hopefully, contract building official. And just as a heads up for folks, he'll be here Monday through Thursdays, pretty much 8 hours a day, inspections and work permitting. So he's on a contract basis, but he'll be here nearly full-time for everybody who needs the help. And the county will still be backing us on Fridays.
All right.
Mark McLean.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say thank you so much for bringing me over here last May. It's a good fit, and that means so much in this position. And I was here, well, since May, and I feel like part of the team. I want to be part of the team, and I look forward to working here in Taft.
All right.
Gives you a safe
Thank you very much. That is
welcome
indeed
and
what
thank
we
you.
are.
Yeah.
A successful team. Thank you very much for your comments, sir. Except City Manager statements. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one comment, and that'll be on the building department side. I guess you got to hear some input today from one of our commissioners, one of our citizens, but I just wanted to point out he'll also, I'm assuming, be attending the meetings for code enforcement and will not be doing code enforcement, but may assist Jill in her code enforcement efforts as it deals with building department issues.
All right. Very good. Obviously, you were exposed to that this evening, sir. There are some concerns.
And it makes me feel good when people come to City Hall and they like the environment and they like the folks that work here and the teamwork that we have here. So
We actually heard a lot of that this evening, didn't we? It was very nice to hear. City Attorney statements. Your Honor, are you going to speak tonight?
Just briefly, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Holy smokes.
I know this is a rare event. I wanted to add my voice to those wishing Chief Whiting all the best in his retirement. You are one of the sir. You're one of the first people that I met here in Taft, and you set the tone for this city.
The traffic ticket or what?
No. I met you professionally, but not in that way. And you set the tone for this city, and your decades of service to this city have certainly had an impact on the lives of everyone here, but also on mine as well. And I wish you the best. I know the city's going to miss you, but I'm also going to miss you personally. And thank you for your service, and enjoy your retirement.
I don't want folks to think that I didn't want to mention anything about Chief Whiting's retirement. We will be roasting him properly Saturday, so I gotta save my speech for Saturday. Well, we promised no speeches, but there will be a roast.
All right, very good. We're going to look forward to that.
Thank you, Chief.
And he's going to be getting
Absolutely.
an award at Kern Cog as well for a Lifetime Achievement Award. So
There you go.
Well deserved.
Absolutely.
Well deserved. Okay, next up on the agenda, item number 9, future agenda requests. Any future agenda requests this
Well,
evening?
we've had a good discussion tonight. I would like to see some response from city staff, maybe at a future meeting, as to what each department is facing with this problem that was beginning tonight. Our planning department, our code enforcement, the police department. I mean, we're all involved in it, and I want us to get our message out to the public that, the issues that we're facing, the problems, the good things that we're doing, some of the things that we just can't do, rounding people up and put them on a bus and send them to the coast or something. I mean, there's things like that. I mean, there's rumors and rumors and rumors. What it would take, maybe, people are talking about, getting in a building and put, providing the homeless centers, all this. But I would just like to hear some input from staff, maybe at a future meeting, or we do another collaborative meeting like we did tonight, but have some city staff get up and also speak on the subject too. I don't think we got our message out to what we are doing as a city. So.
Well, I believe this was a good first step. It was a great first step. Understanding that we have potentially a new staff member coming on board. We most certainly have a new police chief coming on board. And it's going to take them just a little while to get their feet wet and kind of absorb this problem and start to formulate some ideas. So,
well, I think these type of forums also help city staff because we're learning just like you guys. I mean, we have to try to see what the issues are.
We need to get our side out too, that we're not sitting on our thumbs and that we haven't been active and doing things.
I think the plan is, like the mayor pointed out, we'll continue to receive input, but at a future date, have a town hall meeting at a different location.
Yeah.
And have different departments there and the sheriff's department and maybe someone from the supervisor's office and listen
How
to
about somebody from the homeless centers in Bakersfield where services are provided? Can we have somebody?
We're
like that
having
come
conversation with them.
We did invite somebody.
I know you did. I was
and-
disappointed they didn't come.
And he responded that he wanted to speak to
He wants
somebody.
to talk about
that
what
we were unable to contact after that. So
It would be nice to know truly what services we do have. I mean, I don't really know what we have, and I'm sure a lot of other people don't either. What we actually do have service-wise here, and actually what is provided in Bakersfield, and what do we actually have going on as far as people actually using those facilities in Bakersfield? Is it because they're in Bakersfield or because they don't want to use them?
I think he would probably want to have a meeting with someone before he came over because he didn't know what he was walking into.
Right.
True. And things
Understood.
And I'd like to be able to have, more of a, I don't want to attack the poor man or whoever it is. I'm thinking maybe like, some kind of a presentation as to what they provide.
Department of Health and Human Services. And I'm sorry, I know you asked for these things, and of course you don't think about it until tonight. The Rescue Mission as well as the Bethany Center, those types of folks would be ideal. Kern County Mental Health.
when you'd like to plan your town hall, if you'll provide me with all of this information, I promise you I will reach out to each and every entity that you ask and get this set up.
It sounds like there are multiple places in Bakersfield that you all are familiar with, multiple agencies. Perhaps we could kind of get a list together so that we could get them to Yvette. She can try to contact them, put together a preliminary meeting, not toss them out in front of the public, and let them have that preliminary meeting and talk about what's actually going to be addressed, what are the concerns, what role are we going to play, get an idea of what's going to go on, and then move forward with a town hall type meeting after our new department heads have had an opportunity to become a part of this. So whether it's 90 days out from now in order to be able to do it and advertise it, give people an opportunity to put it in their schedules and make it a little less formal. But like I say, follow up on it. Nothing happens overnight. But that way we could move this thing forward. Is that what you were considering, Randy?
Yeah, I just want to get our message out. We heard from the public, but we didn't really hear about what the city of Taft is doing.
Okay, understood. Does that make sense?
However format, probably a town hall would be a lot better.
And I don't want
to do
people
that.
to think, well, we just did this, we're done. We're not done.
Okay,
This
understood.
Is just, this is a start. We want to keep kind of hitting that point a little bit every now and then so people know that we're still working on this until we have an opportunity to have a town hall.
Okay, so it sounds like Randy's future agenda request got concurrent.
Concurred on numerous occasions, yes.
Okay, so we have an agenda request, we have concurrence.
Unanimous.
Does it make sense? All right, very
Mayor, if
good.
I might
And it
add
doesn't
to that.
have to be in 2 weeks. I mean, it just.
I think what you said was a great idea to try to drive collaboration, city-driven, between those governmental agencies and that other folks who are here saying they could help provide services. Then we could truly become that conduit, not the actual end game.
Right.
And then once those people are on the same page, then we offer public input time.
It seems
Thank
like
you,
everybody's
Mr. Mayor.
kind of scattered. Like, there's numerous areas that are doing good, but we don't know how to unite things properly, and maybe that's what we can become is, a way to figure out how to unite things, and after we understand them.
Right.
Yeah, we're doing all this.
Okay, all right. I think she's got direction. Any other agenda requests? None? All right, moving forward. Next item, consent calendar items 10 through 21. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on? The public has left the building.
Well, Jerry
All
cleared
right,
the room.
hearing none. The items on the consent calendar are item number 10, which is the minutes for the February 6th regular meeting. Item number 11, the payment of bills, about $300,000 worth. Item number 12 is the second reading is a zoning ordinance amendment number 2018-01 Taft zoning map amendments. Recommendation is a motion to approve and amend the City of Taft Municipal Code adopting an ordinance entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft approving zoning ordinance amendment number 2018-01 to amend the zoning map to rezone 76 parcels for consistency with the applicable general plan land use designation with no proposed changes to the text of Title VI zoning regulations of the Taft Municipal Code. Item number 13 is an authorization of the sale of 4312 Trumbull Drive, Bakersfield, California, to Habitat for Humanity Golden Empire. Recommendation there is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft authorizing the sale of property located at 4312 Trumbull Drive, Bakersfield, California, to Habitat for Humanity Golden Empire for $100,000, and authorizing the mayor, city manager, and/or assistant city manager to execute all escrow and other documents necessary to complete the sale of real property and making certain findings in connection therewith. Item 14 is a contract for building official services with McLean Consulting. Recommendation is a motion to approve a contract for building and safety services with McLean Consulting and authorize the mayor to sign. Item 15, out-of-state travel, Human Resources Leadership Summit. Recommendation is to authorize Lon Boyer, the Director of Human Resources Assistant City Manager, to attend the Connect Human Resources Leadership Summit in Las Vegas, Nevada, April 15th through the 17th, 2018, which, by the way, they will pick up all the costs, not the city.
Good call.
Item 16, Application to the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District New Alternative Fuel Vehicle Purchase Grant Program. Recommendation is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft approving and authorizing an application to the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District Public Benefit Grants Program under the New Alternative Fuel Vehicle Purchase Program and authorizing the city manager to execute all documents and authorize the sale of 5 previously purchased plug-in vehicles, none of which were made by GMC." I just had to throw that in. That's not part of the record. Item 17, Transportation Development Act Funds Annual Audit for fiscal year 2015-2016. The recommendation is a motion to receive and file the City of Taft Transportation Development Act Funds Annual Audit for the fiscal year 2015-2016. Item 18 is funding to the Taft Chamber of Commerce for the quarter of October 2017 to December 17. That's the motion to approve the 25% allocation of the TOT tax to the Taft Chamber of Commerce for October 2017 through December 2017. It's a little over $10,000. Item 19, Special Gas Tax Street Improvement Fund Audit Report, July the 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. Recommendation is a motion to receive and file the City of Taft Special Gas Tax Street Improvement Fund, July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016 audit report. Item 20, authorizing by resolution certifications and assurances for the California State of Good Repair Program for transit projects. The recommendation is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft, Authorization for the Execution of the Certifications and Assurances for the California State of Good Repair Program." And finally, item 21, California Transit Security Grant Program for fiscal year 2016-2017 funding. The recommendation is a motion to approve a resolution entitled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft authorizing the city manager and/or the finance director to submit an application and enter into a grant agreement in the amount of $7,498 for the state of California, funding under Prop 1B, provided by California Governor's Office of Emergency Services under the California Transit Security Grant Program. Do any council members wish to remove any of these items from the consent calendar?
You didn't stumble once.
Thank you very much. Hearing none, quickly, I would ask that we approve consent calendar items 10 through 21.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hill?
Yes.
And Mayor Knorr.
Yes, that's approved on a 5-0 vote. I want to thank you all for that.
And Mark, you're in.
Welcome to the
Welcome
team.
aboard, Mark. All right, at this time, this council will go into closed session for 2 items. Item A, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, government code section 54956.9B, 1 potential case. And item B, conference with real property negotiator Craig Jones, city manager, government code sections 54956.8, 112 East Lucard Street, Taft, California, 93268. Thank you all for being a part of our meeting.